I'm going to go on just quickly. Mexico and the South, they're paying me for this, and so I have to go on just a little bit. And so, I mean, I don't want to just think I just waltzed in here and just did it all off the top of my head. I had to work on this. Gee. Mexico and the southwestern United States, perhaps particularly Texas, share one big important myth, and that's the myth of the cowboy, the vaquero, and his hero's journey working cattle and riding horses and living by his own personal code. This particular mythos has been sustained across both cultures by movies, television, music, oral histories, literature, painting, sculpture, rodeo and charreada, and of course, photography. Bill Wittliff has subscribed to this myth pretty much all his life, growing up in small-town Texas, listening to stories about the Old West, going to movies, reading, looking at pictures. And he's chopped out his share of cedar, dug a few post hole, probably, had some 4-H projects. So when he came face to face with cowboying done like it was in the old days, he had sense enough to know what a rare thing it was to be on a roundup on a 230,000-acre ranch with no cross fences, and he had the good instincts and enough camera skills to capture it on film. In spite of the cedar grubbing and the hard manual labor that he knew were part and parcel of ranch life, his view of the cowboy was elegiac and sepia-toned like an old photograph. And on the Tule Ranch in Coahuila, he had a chance to create a true elegy for a way of living doomed to extinction. And then, as luck would have it, he got to bring it all back to life when he became involved with Lonesome Dove, writing the screenplay for the 8-hour miniseries, serving as executive producer, which in showbiz terms is like being the capo de tutti capi in the mob. And it is. It is. We know that. You might as well have been Tony on The Sopranos. I mean, it was absolute power. He was on the set every day taking pictures, his talent now honed to a fine edge. And both the Vaquero and the Lonesome Dove photographs tap into the rich, romantic archetype of the cowboy and the trail drive, the roundup, the Junta de las Vacas. I love the continuity and the parallels of these two photographic series, that they're both featured in monographs published beautifully by UT Press in the Wittliff Collections series, both following, as they do, Bill's bliss and his good instincts and talents. I'm going to show you just a few pairs of photos. This is from the Vaquero, the chuck wagon, and you see similarity. The chuck wagon and Vaquero had rubber tires. You couldn't really see them too well. And this is the camp in Vaquero, and a closer up view on the set on the Lonesome Dove set. Here are a couple of that's the caporal, the head guy on the trail drive, and Woodrow F. Call, kind of the head guy on the Lonesome Dove trail drive. This is just sort of, I mean, the similarity of the countryside is really kind of amazing. One of the things that I noticed about the cattle drive in the Vaquero photos was that the cows always looked like they were under better control than they were in the Lonesome Dove, where they always looked like they were just kind of didn't quite know where they were going. But in the Vaquero photos, you could tell those guys, they were heading them up. Here's another, here they are. It's the Vaquero. You can tell the Lonesome Dove prints are sepia tone. There's a sort of, a Gus-like character. It's the branding. As you see, the guy holding the brand slate, it's a little bit tentative, but you can bet those guys on the left were not at all that way. One of the young vaqueros and one of our young vaqueros. Oh my. And then there's this Jasper and one of the young vaqueros. And there's the remuda and the stolen horses when they drove the horses up from the Rio Grande through the town of Lonesome Dove. Still photographs. What I was going to say. I mean, I've really, I begged Bill to come up and tell some stories about his experience on Vaquero, but he turned a deaf ear to my entreaty. So I was just forced to just come up with whatever I might. The Vaquero photos, as you'll notice, are a little rougher, which seems to me to be perfectly appropriate to the subject. And the Lonesome Dove photos, appropriately, are more dramatically heroic, although there are plenty of heroes among the Vaqueros as well, shown to be such in the pictures. I always love to think about, because Bill would bring photographs to these guys. When he would go back, he would take prints to the fellows that he had taken pictures of. And he said inevitably they would fold them up. So these are 11 by 14s. Some care, I suspect, had been taken in their printing, and they would fold them up into very small, in little wallet-sized packets, or put them in their back pocket. And I would love to think that they've now been unfolded by the families of these men. Many of them, perhaps, this is 35 years ago, and are maybe hanging in parlors all over northern Mexico. I hope that's true anyway. But you can bet that they were kept, and so they're in albums, or they may be still in somebody's back pocket. You never know. Anyway, I think that people respond to these photographs so strongly because they do come from a truly authentic place in the photographer's heart, in su espiritu, just as the novel Lonesome Dove came from a deep place in McMurtry's personal history. Bill took the Vaquero photos way back in the 70s. They toured the U.S. and various international venues for many years. They're now revived in the lovely exhibit that you see here, presented in cooperation with Humanities Texas, as Steve mentioned. They're extremely popular across the state, demonstrating as they do the give and take between Texas and Mexico, and revealing the genesis of the cowboy myth we in Texas hold so dear and owe to our neighbor to the south. Still photographs, even more than moving images, enable an understanding of essential aspects of history and society, its aesthetics, its politics, its dreams, its myths. The photographs we collect here are not only documents, but profound testaments to personal vision and monuments to great talent. Being able to exhibit this level of artistic expression at Texas State and at off-site venues throughout the world is the great gift of the Wittliff Collections, something students and members of the community will remember for a long time and on many different levels of consciousness, because that's how photographs work. They're a language that we all understand.